Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Dirt Road Salvation. And today we're going to talk about preventative maintenance versus reactionary maintenance, and as to why preventative maintenance is the way to go and why you need to do it this way. So stick around, enjoy the video, drop a like, comment, let me know how all y'all days going. Let me know if y'all are broke down or if y'all are running. So without a shadow of a doubt, let's not hold y'all up anymore. Let's get to the topic of the subject. Here we go. So, anyway, all of us know we covered last week about the CLC card and trying to save money during breakdowns. Well, in this video, we're going to talk about trying to make sure to prevent breakdowns, which is why we're going to talk about preventative maintenance. And I've got examples here as to how much it can save you over the course of the time of which you're dealing with this in trucking. You'll have to bear with me. My voice is a little scratchy. Last time I was at home, the kids got me and they gave me the crud. So we're on the back end of it now. We're doing better. No, it's not the thing. It's not that. Stop it. It's not that. Okay. Anyway, so last night we were coming out of Colorado and we're coming down to Kansas. Got a good little load coming out of Denver, coming over here to Kansas, and paying $5 a mile. It's 300 bucks or 300 miles, $1,500. Hey, that's good money to me. $5 a mile? Absolutely. Too easy. And should I had known, just my luck, that, well, I had started to notice that there was a hose coming out of the heater core where the clamps that I had done last year when I broke down on the side of the road in Oregon, the guy who replaced that didn't do a very good job, apparently, because over the long run, with how tight he put those clamps on there, they ended up rubbing and putting a hole in my the line that he replaced. So I had done my pre-trip that day and I'd looked at it and was like, okay, so I can tell at this point in time that this is going to turn into a problem. Well, I thinking, being the mind that I am, is like, well, it's not a problem yet. We're on our way. We're going to run past the house on this week anyway. Let's get back to the house and let's change this hose out when I get home, because I got the hose at home. Well, as we're running and going, and we're running and gunning to get out of Denver, trying to beat that, snowstorm they had coming in, I happened to just hit a dip in the road that was just right, and then all of a sudden my low coolant light came on as I was going down the road. So I found a shoulder, safe place to pull off, and got over to the side of the road, went out, lifted my hood, and saw that the hose that I had noticed earlier that was starting to wear, hadn't worn through yet, was still serviceable, wasn't leaking, but I could tell it was going to turn into a problem. It wasn't going to make it home. It had a pinhole in it, and it was squirting coolant all over the back of the firewall underneath the heater core. Well, where the coolant lines go into where the heater core would be. So that turned into a road call. Now, granted, I had no idea knowing that it was going to pop on the way to where I was going. Otherwise, if I'd have known that it was leaking at that time, which it wasn't, or that it was going to pop, I would have just changed it right there. It's not that hard. Put a hose clamp on here, pull that worn section off, trim off where it's worn, slide it back down on there, put the clamp on at the appropriate tension. Super easy fix. Well, nature got me. Oh, hey, there goes the APU. Must get cold. Anyway, so this is why we're talking preventative maintenance. This and reactionary maintenance. This right here, a road call, is reactionary maintenance for things that you can't see. I could have prevented this had I just went and bought the hose and swapped it right there, or hell, excuse me, I could have even, or if I would have just taken the 10 minutes, popped that hose off, put the clamp on the hose, trimmed that little ½ inch off, and then slid it back down on there and put the belt on there, the clasp on the right way, I would have never broke down. So, joke's on me. That's my fault. I should have just did it. But anyway, so it turned into a road call because I thought the whole row hose had ruptured or was going, because it was just pouring everywhere and getting worse. So anyway, so the road service guy comes out, and he does exactly what I said I should have done. Hindsight being 2020, at the time, I didn't want to mess with it. It was cold. It was 20 degrees. It was like negative 22 with the wind chill. And I thought the whole hose was going to go, and I thought I had 2 or 3 other hoses that were bad because it was just everywhere. I thought the whole hose cluster and everything that comes out of the firewall and runs back to the APU and everything was toast. Thought it was all bad. Well, luckily it wasn't. It was just, like I said, hindsight being 2020, knowing what I know now versus what I knew then. It had just worn a pinhole through that one hose, and whereas I thought it was multiple hoses that were blown as the truck was running. I mean, it was blowing everywhere. I had no idea. So anyway, so this guy comes out and he does his thing, and we get back on the road and get moving, and then they emailed me my receipt for what it was this morning, which is what I'm getting ready to show you now. So what he did was exactly what I said I should have done, and this is what he ended up charging me, or the shop did. This was from TA. So if you look right here, you can see that they charged me $417.22 to come out, undo the clamp the hose off, trim a 1/2 inch of hose off, and put it back down. I got totally robbed on this deal. And it was a holiday. So their mileage, they charge $1.65 a mile. They said it was 81 miles round trip, which is $133.65. They gave me 1 gallon of coolant to get me over in case it burped and I'd lost more coolant than what I needed to top off. They charged me for 2, even though he only gave me 1.5. But he did top it off before he left, so they charged me for 2. So they're $17.99 a piece, so $35.98. Environmental fee, which there was nothing environmental that they did, so it was just, I don't know why there's this fee, but I guess it's a standard fee. $20 for that, and then they charged me for 2 hours of labor when he was there for 5 minutes. So yeah, that's on me. So I learned my lesson on this one. Next time, don't panic and call a road call when it's something I can do. Like I said, I thought it was the whole freaking cluster. My bad. Learned an expensive lesson on that one. I should have spent more time troubleshooting than panicking, but that's okay. Anyway, so now my APU is due for service. Okay, so this is where we're going to get back, and I'm going to get back on top of the ball game here, and I'm going to do my preventative maintenance. So my APU is coming up, and it's due for service. And everything I've changed on this APU since I've had it has all been OE from the factory, which means that all they did when they had it before I bought this truck was just routine service. Fuel filters, oil filters, new oil, done. So, at this point in time, knowing that the APU is 3 years old, or 4 years old, sorry, it only makes sense to go ahead and replace some of this other stuff. So, because I'm going to be doing a service anyway, I'm going to have it open, I might as well go ahead and be in there and do it. So, having learned the lesson that I learned with that hose, because, you know, it was cold and I was panicked and I was an idiot, and I didn't want to freeze on the side of the road, that was my fault. So, okay. Now, we get here, and I'm going to be going home. I got some maintenance to do on the truck, and I got to do a PM service on the APU, which is preventative maintenance service. So we're going to change the secondary fuel filter, we're going to change the oil filter, we're going to put new oil in it, we're also going to change the fuel pump, because it is still the OE fuel pump and it is acting up from time to time, and we're going to change the inline fuel filter, which is a regular service. And we're going to record the videos of all of this, so you'll see how it's done in the future. So anyway, so if you go to Thermo King, I think it's like $500, $600, $700 to do the PM service yourself. or to have them do it. And then I can only imagine what it's going to cost for the fuel pump and the labor and the price and all that stuff for there. So started doing some research, and I found a place called Thermo King Byproducts. They're out of Portland, Oregon, and they sell aftermarket parts, or aftermarket parts for these APUs, being tri-packs, tri-pack Evolution, the reefer unit trailers, or no, excuse me, that's not correct. The tri-pack Evolution, the tri-pack, and Carrier. They sell products for all of those, and they're aftermarket parts. So, and they are substantially cheaper than what Thermo King charges, as I'm going to show you now with this receipt here. So, as I'm showing you here now, this receipt, this is I'm going to be doing a service on my APU, which is what this part here is for. If I get my mouse back over here. This is the part number, the code for the Thermo King Byproducts. I have a tri-pack APU Evolution, which is what this kit's. It's the filter kit. It comes with the oil filter, the water fuel separator, and it also comes with the air filter for inside the box that the APU is in for the air breather, and it also has the air filter for under the bunk. So, knowing that my APU is literally as old as my truck, and everything that I have changed on this truck has been OE from the manufacturer since I've gotten it, it only makes sense to go ahead and swap out these parts while I'm in there, because this is going to prevent further problems down the line, since these parts are due to start failing coming up soon and or clogging. And the person who had this truck prior to me, they only did the basic service, because everything I have changed off of this thing has been OE since I've gotten it. It's been nickel and diming me. So this should be the last of all the OE parts that I should have to do, minus the internals and injectors and things of that nature on this APU. So, everything else I've already done. So knowing that these are coming up, and the reason and the web page that I'm getting these off of is Thermo King Byproducts. They are not a sponsor whatsoever, but these guys, they're an aftermarket parts dealer for Thermo King Evolution, and Carrier. You can get your parts from them, and they're super cheap. The shipping's a wee bit expensive, but it's not horrible. But you can work with them. They're great, and I enjoy using them. They save me a ton of money. The only thing that's a little pricey is the shipping, because I'm all the way on the other side of the country from them, and they come out of Portland, Oregon. But whatever, you just double up on what you buy, or you buy a big list of stuff to save on the shipping. So, anyway, that being the case, and then we have the filter fuel strainer, the APU, which comes off the back of the fuel pump and then goes into the fuel lines, which I believe is the inline fuel filter. But don't quote me on that, because we're going to go ahead, because if we find another fuel filter in there that we need to change, we're going to go ahead and change it too. I'll just go to Thermo King and get it. I believe that this was all I needed. And then obviously the fuel pump. Now, it's a basic fuel pump. It's a 4 PSI one-way fuel pump. And, I mean, you don't have to use the Thermo King one. I got this one just because it's from the same website, and I might as well was already there shopping there. I mean, I could find this exact same fuel pump on Amazon, I think. Instead of $52, they got it for $35. I mean, it's not, there's different ways around it. I was already on the website, and I'm just trying to get a bulk order and be done. I've had good, reliable parts from these guys in the past, so we're going to go ahead and get these. So, but like I was saying, to have Thermo King do just the service for the fuel treat, for the water fuel separator, the oil pump, the air filters, and to put new oil in it, I want to say is like $600-700. I've heard some people saying they paid like $900 for it. I don't know. I don't go to Thermo King to do it unless it's something that I can't do myself in the driveway or where I work on my stuff. So that just being the way that it is, I don't go there and use that. So anyway, that's that. So anyway, it's only going to cost me $142.15 plus my time, and I've got to get 1.5 gallons of oil, so I'm at let's just call it $180 for all of this, and like 2 hours of my time, versus waiting all day for Thermo King to get me in and that. So this is why it is much better to have and be preventative than reactionary, because when you're in a reactionary mindset, you make bad decisions like calling a road call when it's something you can do yourself because you're freezing and you're panicked and you're stuck on the side of the road. Knowing that it is what it is, I mean, I'll own up to it. It's pretty. I try to keep it pretty transparent as much as possible here. So, yeah, I was kind of an idiot. I got into a panic. I freaked out. I spent some money. I made a bad business call is what it was by calling someone to come out and fix something I could have done. But you know what? It is what it is. I still would have been not had the coolant to be able to get to the next shop anyway, so I still needed topped off. So it just, at the time, it was convenient for me to have somebody else come and do it than to try to do it on myself on the side of the road, you know. But hey, we all learn lessons. We all make mistakes out here. So give me a like if you thought it was cool. If they still have the dislike button, go ahead and give me one of those and tell me to kick rocks or whatever. Drop a comment. Tell me how you are, whether you're broke down, whether you're running, whether you're thinking about running or thinking about not running. This is just kind of one of those things that nobody talks about. Well, some people talk about it, not a lot of people. But let me know down below if you enjoyed this, if you like the new banner and stuff. We got links to all of our places. We got our Twitter here. We got our Instagram right here. And we got our YouTube right here, which is where you're watching us now. So go give us a like, a follow over there too. And if y'all have any questions, shoot me an email. Drop me a DM at any one of these. And we'll go from there. I love y'all. I'll see you next time.